Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5.
Next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment of the United States.
All refugees' travel to the US is being suspended following an executive order from Donald Trump. It means refugees with permission to enter the US will not be allowed in, and the processing of new cases is suspended. The executive order said the US had been inundated with record levels of migration.
And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God.
Meanwhile, Mr. Trump branded a Washington bishop nasty and not very good at her job after she told the president he was sowing fear among the country's immigrants.
To have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now.
Mr. Trump, his wife Melania, J.D. Vance and his wife Usha were in the front row when Reverend Marianne Edgar Buddle delivered a sermon at Washington National Cathedral.
The people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation. But the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals.
A day of mourning is underway in Turkey for the 76 victims of a fire that engulfed a popular ski resort hotel in the country's northwest. The fire broke out at the wooden-clad 12-storey Grand Kartal Hotel in Bolu during a busy holiday period. It took 12 hours to put out. An investigation has been launched into the incident and 9 people have been arrested. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, here attending a funeral service for those killed, said those responsible for negligence leading to the fire will be held accountable. Hundreds of displaced people have arrived in Goma in the Democratic Republic of Congo, fleeing fighting in Minova after the town fell to M23 rebels. Families disembarked from overcrowded boats carrying their belongings as they sought refuge in the provincial capital, where aid groups warned of worsening humanitarian conditions. It raises concerns that the rebels may advance towards the major city. More than 178,000 people have so far been displaced by the conflict. Prince Harry has settled a legal case against the publisher of The Sun newspaper over claims of unlawful intrusion into his life after it agreed to pay substantial damages and offer an unequivocal apology. The Duke of Sussex alleged journalists and private investigators working for News Group newspapers used unlawful techniques to pry on his private life, with executives then allegedly covering it up. NGN apologised for the serious intrusion by The Sun between 1996 and 2011 and admitted incidents of unlawful activity were carried out.
In a monumental victory today, News UK have admitted that The Sun, the flagship title for Rupert Murdoch's UK media empire, has indeed engaged in illegal practices. This represents a vindication for the hundreds of other claimants who were strong-armed into settling without being able to get to the truth of what was done to them.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has held a series of diplomatic meetings with world leaders on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Davos. He held meetings with South African President Cyril Ramaphosa and Israeli President Isaac Herzog, among others. The Ukrainian leader said a day earlier he was working to set up a meeting between himself and Donald Trump. Mr. Trump has said he would stop the war in Ukraine swiftly, without saying how. Chinese President Xi Jinping and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin have had a video call hours after Donald Trump was sworn in, pledging to bring bilateral ties to greater heights. Calling Xi a dear friend, Mr. Putin said Russia and China were building ties on the basis of friendship, mutual trust and support, despite external pressure. And British Royal Princess Anne has commemorated black South Africans who died during the First World War as she concluded a 2-day visit to the country. Anne unveiled the Cape Town Labour Corps Memorial, which honours the South Africans who played a key role in non-combat jobs but died with no known grave or commemoration. King Charles's sister performed the ceremony in her role as president of the Commonwealth War Graves Commission. The memorial honours more than 1,700 South Africans. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.